Swadikab, Jed here from Retiring Disgracefully. Just want to give you a little bit of an update on the COE or Certificate of Entry regulations. Well, it's not an update actually. I mean, as usual in Thailand, confusion reigns. I thought there'd be some definite news today, but really nothing else has happened. I'll read to you once again from Tiger. The headline is top story: COE will be replaced by Thailand Pass in development. And then it goes on to say, I'll read the whole story because if you are planning on coming here, you want all the information you can get. But I'm sorry, there's not much information, but I will read everything to you so you'll understand what information has been given out so far. Hopefully in the next few days there'll be more information. Okay, so it says, in the much maligned Certificate of Entry is on its way out, with the digital Thailand Pass set to replace the COE for most but not all people from November 1st. The Digital Government Development Agency is working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to create an online system to replace the COE process for international flights arrivals. So it's only for flights. If you're coming across the border from Cambodia or Malaysia or Laos or Myanmar, you would still need a certificate of entry. It goes on to say the Thailand Pass would be a replacement for international travellers, both foreign and Thai, who enter the country by air. A spokesman for the ministry said that those entering by land or by sea would still require the certificate of entry. So if you're coming across a border or if you're coming on a cruise ship, you would need, or any ship, you would need a certificate of entry. And they vaguely left the door open to the idea that not all international flight travellers would be eligible to enter without the certificate. So as usual, confusion reigns. They're saying they're changing the system, but some people would still need a certificate of entry, which is it's quite confusing, but that's Thailand. It goes on to say again, but development is underway for the Thailand Pass system, and it's going to be a web-based application that would guide people through the process of gathering and uploading all the necessary documents for entry. So from what I gather, it's probably the same as what it was before, except you can do it online. But as I say, confusion reigns. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, or maybe they're going to come out with and give more information later. The digestion of the immigration process will address the challenges of expanded documentation requirements for the COVID-19 pandemic brought on, including vaccination certification that will be handled online by the Department of Communicable Disease Control under the umbrella of the public health system. But it will also help facilitate the filing of the traditional TEM-M6 immigration form as well as the T8 health form. As I say, all these forms, and I don't know why they just can't simplify it, but there's always a lot of paperwork in anything you do in Thailand, but more so now during COVID, because there's lots of new departments springing up that weren't there 2 years ago. I'll read on. Before the development began on the new Thailand Pass to replace the COE, the Foreign Affairs Ministry had approved over 400,000 COEs for people to travel internationally to Thailand, a figure 25% higher than the total number predicted for arrivals for 2021, despite the government's generous expectations. Now, I'm really not sure what that means. So, but what they're saying, they've already approved 400,000 COEs, so there's nearly 500,000 people have been approved to come in with the old COE system. So I suppose there could be more information coming out, or there will be more information coming out soon. But from what I'm reading here, it's probably not going to be much different to the old system. They've changed the name, so that's what they do. They change the name and open a new department but keep the regulations more or less the same. But from what I'm reading, you can now do it online. That's the way you would do it, and they will guide you through that online. But the problem with that is quite often I've done, like for me personally, I've done my 90-day report online, thinking that everything was fine, and put it in, and then 90 days later I think, oh, I'll go to the immigration office myself this time, I'm going past and I'll do it. And when I went there, they hadn't received my previous 90-day report that I'd filed online. So computer systems here in Thailand don't always work. And that's very concerning, because if you think you've filled in your COE or whatever they're calling it today, or the name of it today, if you think and then you arrive in Thailand and they say, well, where's your, you didn't fill it in online. And if they say, oh yes, you say, oh, yes I did, I filled it in online. And they say, well, we have no record of it. And then it opens up a can of worms. And so I'm not very good with using computers here in Thailand. I'm very suspicious of them, because quite often the information isn't passed on, or it isn't registered. When it arrives here, it's out there in cyberspace somewhere. It hasn't been addressed. So sorry, when I get some more news, what it actually is, I will post another video and try and explain a little bit more. I know it. I'm sure you're watching this and thinking, what the hell's he saying? It's very confusing. It is. It's confusing for me. I don't know what they're offering. I can't see anything different from what there was before, except you can do it online and they've changed the name. So I'll keep you updated if and when I get the information. In the meantime, here's the latest COVID figures for Thailand and for Koh Samui.